Good morning, explorers. Super excited to be joining you today for another one of our Aquarium Online Academy programs here at the Aquarium of the Pacific. My name is Cynthia and I am part of our education department here. And today we're going to be exploring and talking all about, what do you think? Sharks! So, we're going to be exploring different shark adaptations, making different observations, and asking different questions. So, if today you have any questions yourself, any observations that you want to share with us, we do have a live text line that you can use. And that number right now will appear on the screen. So you can text into 562-286-1838. So anything you might be wondering, anything you want to share with us, if you have a favorite shark fact, a favorite type of shark, I definitely invite you to send that in to us like that. I can talk about the things that you're interested in, answer any questions, or even learn fun things from all of you in regards to sharks or in regards to the ocean in general. If you are watching this program after it airs live, so after August 5th, I want to say that is the date today, after about 10:30 in the morning, you can still send in your questions and your observations, but instead of using this text line, you're going to want to use our email. And our email is live@lbaop.org. This just helps us ensure that we can address your questions and see your observations in a timely manner because we're not always at this text line. But this morning we are. So if you're watching me right now, you're going to want to send in those questions, thoughts, observations to our text line. But if you're watching after, you're going to want to use this email right over here. So, like I mentioned, now that we've covered all of that, we're going to be talking about sharks today. So, I want to start by warming up our brains just by us making really general observations. So, let me step off of the camera because right now we are viewing our Shark Lagoon exhibit, and this is a live camera feed that we're looking at. So if you were to come here to the aquarium right now and you were to look inside of this exhibit, or if I had a little camera and I could run us all out there, this is exactly what we would be seeing out there. It's what's happening right now within our exhibit. So you can see there's lots of different activities, lots of different factors in here. So I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to a minute just for you to make your own observations, whether it be about the sharks or the other animals in here, about the habitat that they're in. Do you know what that word means? Habitat. You can also think about that and we'll go over it in just a little bit. But just warm up your scientist brains and let's see what we can observe. And don't worry, I'm still here. I'm just sitting here quietly so like that you can think. So, what have you noticed? What has popped out to you? Is there anything new? Anything you don't recognize? Remember, you can text it into us at that text number that we have on the screen. You can write it down. You can also just think it. If you're watching this with someone or something, you can also talk to them. But what did you notice? One of the things I always notice, of course, is all of the sharks we have in here. We do have a few different types of sharks. So, of course, they're all in the back now. So, let's focus on something else right now. And then when they swim on in front of the camera again, we can talk about our sharks. Or there we go, actually. So, these right here, we have two of them. These are our zebra sharks. So, you can see the way that they swim. Did you know this was a shark or did you think it was something else? I really like zebra sharks because to me, they look pretty different as to what I would imagine a shark looking like. So let's all do an exercise real quick. Close your eyes. I'm going to say the word shark. What comes to your brain? What type of shark? For me, for the longest time, it was a great white shark. But now, when I close my eyes and I think about sharks, since I've learned about them a little bit more, I actually think of zebra sharks. That might be because zebra sharks are my favorite shark. But also, they're just very different looking from some of the other sharks you may be imagining. I feel another shark that is very, very similar to some of the sharks some of us may be imagining are our reef sharks. The ones with the really triangular fins, triangles all over their bodies, the way that they look and their color. But there's also a lot to learn about them that might challenge some of the things that you know about sharks. So, even though this is only a small little pool of sharks that we're looking at, not too many different types, they still can look really different from one another. And I want you to start thinking about, why do you think they look different from one another? Do you think that these different types of sharks spend their time in different ways? Or do you think all sharks are doing the same exact thing every single day? Hmm. We'll explore that in just a little bit, but things for you to ponder. What are some other things that you were able to observe within here? You may have noticed all the fish that we have in here. So it's pretty diverse in here. We have sharks, we have fish, we have stingrays. If you notice our ray get up and swim away, probably to the corner off of the camera over here is where it likes to hang out. We even have a sea turtle in here. Ooh, the ray's proving me wrong. It's actually right over here if you can see it. But we also have a sea turtle in here. So super diverse, right? A very diverse habitat. Remember, I mentioned that word earlier, habitat. Do you know what that means? Yeah, if you're saying that it's somewhere where an animal or plants live, you're completely right. So this is the sharks and the fishes and all these different animals' habitat, and more specifically, it's a coral reef habitat. Did you recognize all of the coral that we have in here? So, this is where these animals would be living or spending part of their life out in the ocean, is within these coral reefs. So, that's why we have all of the coral in here. And all these animals will use the coral in their own unique ways. I do want to mention to you, I'll let you in on a little secret. The coral that we're looking at in here is artificial, so it's not real. If you've ever been here to the aquarium, or if you've tuned into our other programs and have gotten the chance to see some of our other exhibits, some of our other animals that live within our aquarium here, a lot of the coral you've been looking at is actually not real. It's made out of different plastics and concretes, and then we're able to position them and change them up in different ways for the animals to be able to explore them in the same way that we explore different things. So that's pretty cool. But those are just some more broad observations about some of the different things we have going on within this exhibit. Like I mentioned, I just really wanted us to warm up our brains, since today, and just like every other day of our lives, we're going to be exploring, discovering, and thinking just like scientists. What does it mean to be a scientist? When you hear the word scientist, what comes to mind? I feel, as I've grown up and as I've worked here at the aquarium, my definition of a scientist has definitely changed, because I think all of us are scientists. We're all scientists in different ways. We all ask questions, we all think about things, we make observations, we're able to share different things with one another and different people or different things in our lives. So really, we're all scientists, which I feel is always very exciting to talk about. Ooh, I think we have a question that came in. Let's see what my friend Stewie is going to tell me. Ooh, Ella, our first scientist joining us today with her question. Ella is asking, why are black tip reef sharks? Why do they have those black tips? So really, really great observation. Let's see if we can take a closer look at one of these black tip reef sharks. It'll be an easier way for us to get a closer look at it. For now, if you want, you can try to spot a black tip reef shark within our exhibit. Here we go. So you can see that's the shark that Ella is referring to. So it has black tips all over its top fins, its side fins. Oh, one had just swam right by the camera. But here we go. Actually, a picture. Much better. So you can see the top fins, the side fins, the back fins. All these little fins have little black tips. I always like to refer to this shark. It reminds me of a shark that was there and then someone just dipped it in a little bit of paint. It's just a really specific type of shark that it is. There are a couple of different types of reef sharks. One being the black tip reef shark. The other one is a white tip reef shark, and they have white tips instead of black. Another type of reef shark that we actually have within our exhibit as well is the gray reef shark. So their body is almost completely gray, but some of them still have a little bit of a darker coloration on their back fins. So it really just has to do with the specific type of reef shark that it is, since there are a couple of different types. Really good eye, Ella, and being able to notice some of these very specific characteristics of these different animals. I actually, since we have our reef shark here, today I also want to go ahead and make some more specific observations on some different types of sharks and look at different shark teeth. So I will actually be drawing and taking notes just in case you want to join in as well. So like that you have some time to grab some paper, pencils, colors. I'll be using some dry erase board markers and a whiteboard. So whatever you can find, but if you just want to observe, that is completely okay as well. So I asked you earlier to start thinking about why you think that these sharks may be different, or if you think that all sharks are the same. From the few sharks that you've seen within this exhibit here, what is your answer? Do you think that they're all different? Do you think they're all the same? You can think about us as humans too. Are all humans the same? Are me and you exactly alike? Is your favorite food also tacos? Is your favorite color also lilac? If it is, I think we'd be best friends. But it's probably not, right? So it's just like that with animals as well. There's no two animals that are the same. They all have their own quirks, their own adaptations. They even have their own different personalities. And that's what we're going to learn today as we explore some different sharks. So I want to go ahead and start with one of our smaller sharks that we have here at the aquarium, which are our bamboo sharks. So when you think about a shark as well, what size do you think sharks are? Do you think sharks are really big, or do you think sharks can be smaller? Hmm. So, a lot of sharks are actually smaller than what you would imagine. So here we have our bamboo sharks. So these sharks can measure around 3 feet. So they're not very big. That's about, I'm trying to think. I want to say that's about the length of my arm that we have here. So look at my arm. That's about the size of these sharks, and they are fully grown at this size. So I do want to mention to you all, about 60% of sharks still get larger than around 5 to 6 feet. So a lot of them are going to be smaller than us as humans. Of course, it depends on your size that you currently are right now. But for me, I'm about the size of an average shark, which I always feel is really cool to think about. But these bamboo sharks, they're quite small. They're around 3 feet. So what you'll notice in this picture is how many bamboo sharks are here. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There might be a fifth one right here wedged in between these two. You'll notice they're stacked up on top of each other. So some of these smaller sharks have very special adaptations because only being 3 feet. Imagine, there's a lot of animals out in the ocean, right? Do you think there's quite a few animals that are bigger than 3 feet that aren't sharks? Like bigger fish and things like that? Yeah, there's going to be bigger animals. So these sharks, what they'll do since they're pretty small is they'll actually stack up on top of each other. Sometimes when people visit us here at the aquarium, they're like, oh, why are they all on top of each other? But it's something that they naturally do. Like I mentioned, it's one of their adaptations. Have you heard that word before? Adaptation. What does it mean? Just give yourself a quick little refresher. Refreshing. So, the way I think about an adaptation is something special that an animal or animals do in order to be able to survive, be healthy, and live through their life. So, the adaptation that these sharks do is stacking up on top of each other because then they look a lot bigger than they are. So if another big animal was swimming on by and saw this giant blob up there, it's going to be like, oh no, I was looking for lunch, but I'm going to become lunch if I go over there, and it's going to swim on away. And then all these sharks, I would imagine, are like, ha ha ha, we tricked it. Because instead of being just one giant animal, they're actually just a bunch of smaller sharks all on top of each other. So this right here is actually more of a rare sight within our touch pool that we have here at the aquarium, because they only really swim around like this when it's time to eat. But besides that, when it's just our regular day, they're all laying under these rocks, they're all laying on top of each other. So that's just one of the special things that these bamboo sharks do. What do you notice about their bodies? Do their bodies look more similar to those reef sharks we were looking at, or more similar to that zebra shark we were looking at? Remember, those reef sharks we were looking at have all those triangular fins. I just think about them as a giant triangle. Their favorite shape is a triangle. Versus the zebra shark, the one that had all the spots all over its body, was relatively a little bit flatter, had more flexible fins all over its body. Which one does this remind you of? I would say the zebra shark, right? So they have longer, flexible bodies. They have a flatter bottom as well. Let's hold on to that and remember that as we look at some other different sharks. So we'll go ahead, we'll say goodbye to our bamboo sharks. And now we will go over actually and we'll look at our reef sharks. So, like we've already made some observations about our reef sharks. We've mentioned they have some triangular fins all over their body. We can see they've been consistently swimming around, right? Every time that we've seen them, they haven't stopped moving. Oh, we're going to ignore zebra sharks right now. We're not talking about them. But here we have a closer look at this reef shark. So you can see these fins. What are some other things that you notice? I'll give you about 15 to 20 seconds for you to just make some observations. What are things that you notice about this shark? So they have their fins. Did you notice their eye right here? Their eyes always remind me of cats. Then here we can see it's swimming around towards, yeah, it's swimming around too. You can see the way that it's moving its back fin just back and forth, back and forth. Do you think, where do you think the shark is spending its time? Looking at its body shape, looking at its fins? Maybe you don't know anything about this shark. Maybe you're a shark expert. I don't know. But one thing that I like to practice as a scientist, right, is I like to try and see if, based off of my observations, I can figure some things out, even if I really don't know anything about the animal. So, looking at this reef shark, again, our zebra shark wants all the attention, but just in a little bit we'll get to them. Looking at these reef sharks that are all over here now, you can see those triangular fins, you can see them constantly swimming. What if we were to look inside of their mouths? So I don't have a reef shark's jaw specifically, but I have an animal that's very similar to a reef shark's jaw. So this is a juvenile great white's jaw, but here you can see it's going to be very similar. So let me zoom in for all of you so you can start to see what their teeth would look like. Here we go. So look at those teeth they have in their mouths. So this is their front side. And then let me turn it around. This is what the back side looks like. So I want you to just take a second to see what you can notice about these teeth. Is there anything that stands out to you? Anything that you can observe? To start off, are these teeth flat, sharp? What would you describe them as? They're sharp teeth, right? They're not too big. I always like using my pinky for scale. Please ignore my nails, friends. I'll be getting them done next week. But you can see they're not very big. What's another thing that you notice? If I told you that this was the front, so you can see this is the front row of their teeth, but when I turn it around, is there only one row or are there more hidden rows laying down? There's more hidden rows, right? So a lot of sharks will have multiple rows of teeth. Why do you think that is? Do you know what a shark's body is made out of? When I think, I like to touch my ears. Just kidding. But if you were to touch your ears or touch the tip of your nose, that's made out of cartilage, and that's actually what a shark's body is made out of, is cartilage. But imagine if you were to have teeth in your ears. Would you lose them pretty easily? When you brush your hair, you'd lose a tooth. When on a pillow, you'd lose a tooth. When you put on a sweater, you'd lose another tooth. So you would lose your teeth really easily. So that's what happens to sharks. They bite into something like their food, or they just have a loose tooth and it will fall right on out. So that's why they need all these rows of teeth right here, because if one falls out, it's like a little conveyor belt. They're just able to replace it, which is really cool. We only get one chance with our teeth. So remember, brush your teeth and take care of your teeth. But sharks, they have a lot of chances. That's why there's no shark dentist. They don't really need the shark dentist. But you can see that's one of the very useful things. So we've observed these teeth are pretty sharp. We see that there's rows and rows of these teeth. Now, looking at these teeth, what do you think the shark may be eating? Pointy teeth that are good for eating. Do you think they're eating really small things that they don't have to chew and they can just swallow? Or do you think that they're eating things that they'll probably need to take bites out of? Let's see if we can get an even closer look at these teeth, if we can zoom it in more. 1 second, friends, as I fix all of this for us. There we go. So you can see, if you look even closer to the sides of their teeth, toward some of the sides, they're even serrated. Serrated meaning that there's even pointier sections, sharper sections surrounding the edge of the tooth. So this is really going to help this shark and these different types of shark with similar teeth like that reef shark be able to take bites out of things or be able to chew on things. Here for our reef sharks, they'll eat things like mahi-mahi, which you might be eating. They'll eat squid and different things like that. So they'll be having a very similar diet out in the ocean. So having a teeth design like this is really helpful. So I want to go ahead, like I mentioned, I just want to take a couple of different notes so I can have them for reference if I ever want to look back on this or the different sharks that I like. So here we go, and I'm going to have my jaw right there so I know what I'm going to write. And I want to leave the jaw here just so you all can see some of these bottom teeth still. So first, I'm going to write that these are my shark notes. And like I said, if you want to join me in writing shark notes and making some quick doodles, you can. But if you just want to watch, that is completely okay. So here we go. So first I'm going to write black tip reef shark so I know what type of shark I'm talking about. Or you can just write reef shark. That'll probably be easier. And if you need to pause in case you're writing with me, that's completely okay. When you push play, I will still be here. So here we go. Black tip reef shark. So first, I'm going to label that this is their teeth I'm talking about. And I'm going to try and draw some of their teeth. So like I mentioned, I feel like triangles are their favorite shape because you can see these teeth are pretty triangular. So I'm going to draw it upwards like this and then down. And you can draw more than this if you want. But like I mentioned, it's like they have a sharpness to them because they're serrated. So that's how I'm going to draw my tooth. And then over to the side over here, I want to write a little description about what I'm seeing. So I notice these teeth are sharp, and I know I keep saying the word serrated. So I want us to also just have a visual of that word. Serrated. I think that's how you spell it. I'm going to have my friend Stewie spell check me and make sure serrated spelled correctly. We believe it is right, friends. So here we go. Sharp, serrated, and I'm going to write triangular. So that is my description of these shark teeth. So like that, if I ever am like, what do I notice about the black-tip reef shark? I can look back on these notes. I can see what type of teeth they have, that they're sharp, serrated, and triangular. And then I'm just going to write a few extra notes that these sharks not only have triangular teeth, but also fins. Is there anything else you notice that you would want to add to these notes that might help you remember them? Where do you think the shark is spending its time? Now that we know what its teeth are like, that it's going to be eating fish that are constantly swimming around, looking at those fins, do you think the shark would be spending time towards the bottom of the ocean and hanging out in the sand? Or do you think that the shark would be spending more time towards the middle of the ocean, following these different fish, these different animals, or towards the surface of the ocean? More towards the middle of the ocean, right? More towards the open ocean. Or more, look, what was their name again? Blacktip Reef Shark. Or will they be spending times in coral reefs? Like in coral reefs, right? So I would say coral reefs is where they like to hang out because that's where all their fish foods like to hang out. So here is my first shark I want to talk about and take notes on. So I'll go ahead and draw a line. And if there's anything you want me to add, you can text it in and we can all add it into our notes for those of us who are writing notes. But, ooh, Ella? Oh, Everett. Everett mentioned that they also noticed that the blacktip reef shark had 5 gills. So really great. Hi, Everett. So if you want to see what Everett's mentioning are these gills right here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gills. So most sharks will have 5 gills. There are 2 exceptions to this. One has 6 gills and the other one has 7 gills. And their names are the 6 gilled shark and the 7 gilled shark. But besides them, yes, everyone will have 5 gills. So we can add that to our notes actually, just because that's a good little thing that we can remember. As our black-tip reef shark has 5 gills. There we go. Okay, let's take a look at one last shark because I'm seeing we're running out of time. So I just want to talk about one last shark, my favorite shark, the zebra shark. So we have seen the zebra shark swimming around, but I am willing to bet, friends, that now the zebra shark is not going to want to come. But like I mentioned, we have 2 of them. There's one right here. It's not coming right in front of the camera, but you can still view that body. Ooh, or here we go. Wow, the perfect still shot of our zebra sharks. So you can see that long body, right? I know we've gone over how their body's really flexible. Their fins are really long compared to that blacktip reef shark, right? I wouldn't describe this as triangular as much. You can also see the pattern on their body is really different, right? You can see all those spots all over its body. But wait, it's got a zebra shark. So, if you're wondering, just to explain that to you, they're called zebra sharks because of how they look when they're babies. When they're babies, they look more like a zebra. They have stripes alongside their bodies. Here you can see these baby zebra sharks. So they have these stripes along their bodies. They still do have their dots, but a lot of them will have these stripes. But as they get bigger and bigger and bigger, these stripes will separate and turn more into a spotted pattern, just like this. This is a juvenile zebra shark, so this is the in-between. And then the ones we were seeing swim around, those were some adult zebra sharks. So you can see some of those differences, but that's why they're known as zebra sharks, is because of how they look when they are babies. But okay, let's make some observations as to how we think that their teeth look before I fully show you. You can see those long bodies, right? Do you see its mouth? Is its mouth more a little bit middle, upwards, like the reef shark? No, right? We can't even see their mouths. Their mouths are on the bottom of their bodies. And you can actually see where this shark is going to be spending its time is at the bottom of that sandy ocean, that sandy bottom for it to find its food. So let's take a look at this jaw from the zebra shark. go. So look at these teeth here. Very different, right? Compared to our reef shark. So let's zoom in even more. Oops, let's see if it's going to focus. It might not. There we go. So look at these tiny teeth. Again, here's my pinky for reference. Look at how many of these teeth make up my pinky compared to the other jaw we were looking at. So really, really tiny. So as you look at these teeth, what do you think that the zebra sharks are eating with such small teeth? Do you think they're eating meatier things like the blacktip reef shark, or do you think that they're eating smaller things? They're eating smaller things. I will let you know, friends. They're eating things like clams and shrimp and crabs. So these small teeth will help them munch into those shells and be able to break those shells open and eat those animals. So really quickly, I know we are out of time, but just in case you're doing some notes, I want to make sure that I am supplying you with what you need to be successful. So here, I'm going to write zebra shark. And their teeth, like we were looking at, you can always pause it too, friends, on the frame where I was showing the teeth for you to be able to take a little bit more time on your drawing. You can see their teeth are really small, so I'm just going to do small little teeth like that. Here we go. And how I would describe this, and definitely feel free to describe this straw on in your own words. Sorry, I want to make sure to label it as well. I would say small, and I'm going to put eating food like shrimp, clams, etc. And this shark is going to be spending its time more towards the sandy bottom. And like I said, you can add whatever you want, or you can always text us in even once our program is over. And we can see what else you added to your notes as well. With that being said, friends, whew, we could talk about sharks all day, but it does seem like we're all out of time. So I do want to say thank you so much for tuning in today, friends, to our shark program. If you want to continue learning about sharks, remember, being a scientist never stops. Currently, right now, since we are doing our last day of Summer Kids Club, all of our programs for this week do have worksheets or different activities you can access through our webpage on the Aquarium of the Pacific, through our Aquarium Online Academy programs. And our program activity that is extended for this one is one that you can make more shark observations on. So once again, thank you so much, scientists. I hope you have a great rest of your day. If you want to keep learning and exploring the ocean today, we do have one more program at 11 a.m. today, all about the deep sea. So maybe we'll see you then. If not, we will see you next week. Goodbye.